Right, could I see the parties on Troy Mishler?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Yes, where is he?
He's right here. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Hi. All right, you need to make sure you're on time for court.
Yes, ma'am. I was here. Got this. I apologize.
All right, so here's the thing, court starts at 9, and when people are late, it throws everybody off.
Yeah.
So I don't ask people to do what I don't do. I'm always here, really, I'm here by 8, but make sure you're on time, you understand? Thank you for dressing appropriately for court. All right, so we had a discovery issue on January 12th. Then state you re-indicted,
Yes.
and where are we on this case?
Your Honor, there are 2 sets of discovery that I need to file an appropriate protective order for.
Okay,
These are records that recently came into the possession of the state regarding tangential litigation, not this litigation. I'm working on the language on my end to make sure that it comports with what the state wants. We just ask for some time that I get the proper agreed protective order filed on these 2 sets of discovery, and that
okay, is there a different protective order? Because I've already signed one.
Your Honor, that is correct. There is one signed. Unfortunately, I did let defense know that I never saw that, so it wasn't agreed to because the state never got to see what it was. So I just informed him that we didn't see that and also that there were some errors on it. So we've already been in discussions in forming the language to appropriately nullify that issue. And so we would ask that the one that's already filed, the one we're doing now that we're gonna file will be the appropriate protective
All right, could I
order.
see could you pull the protective order that was previously filed, please, in this case?
and may I add to that, Your Honor?
Yes.
That what the state has purported is correct. In addition, there have been some other documents that they've received. So I thought, well, if we're going to correct the first one, let me cover this second batch of information as well and get it all done at once.
All right, to the clerk, I found it. I was able to pull it up on Odyssey. Odyssey is working. I know I've just jinxed it, but
Sometimes it has good days, sometimes it has bad.
all right, because this says agreed protective order on it, so I guess maybe it was somebody other than yourself.
No, Your Honor.
It was filed by defense, but if you look at the bottom, there is no signature by the state on it. I think it was a mistake. I had asked them to send it to me before they filed it and everything, but the state signature is nowhere on that. I wasn't even aware it was filed until I reached out saying, are you gonna ever give me that protective order? He said, oh, it's been filed. And I said, the state did not see that one. So I think it was just a mistake. And so the state we're correcting that.
All right, so when is this going to be completed?
I plan to do it today. I know Ms. Crespo has a hearing all day, but I want to get my version to her today. And the state's correct. That was completely my mistake the first time through.
Okay, and do you have the documents that he's seeking or no?
We do. We already have, it's 2 separate, some records from Nebraska and then some from Texas as well. We already have those records. We just need that protective order because of the nature of what's in those documents.
All right, and so then after this discovery will be complete?
I believe so. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I need a 30-day reset for discovery. Sorry, what? All right, April 17th, sign the reset form. You need to make sure you're here on time. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. May I be excused?
Yes.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You're welcome. Have a great
I'll
one.
get it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And Renee Munoz was kind enough to share the order that he got signed on his end, and that is what you already signed. So we should be back on track. I am approaching just because she was on the docket.
Okay, and,
She's doing well.
okay, that is awesome.
Yes, I'm happy.
All right, have you conferred with the state today?
Not today, but our understanding is if she does well at this program, they will ditch the other 2 cases.
Yes. All right, and who's the prosecutor you were conferred with?
Maybe should talk to Megan, to be honest, but I can talk to her real quick before she comes up here.
Megan, if you could come up.
It's one of the girls that's at the Hope Mental Health Center. She took possession, controlled substance, MTR, and then 2 new possession cases that dependent on.
So she's at Pay It Forward. And you all were working with the defense on both of these cases. She has some mental health issues as well. So those were the issues.
Okay, I can take a look at it right now.
Okay. And then what I'll do is I'm gonna give her a reset. Her client is not here because she's in the program. And I received an update from them. If you could make sure she has the update, and the update is that she's doing well at Pay It Forward, but Pay It Forward wants her to have a referral to Center for Healthcare Services. So I've signed that as well.
Okay,
So what I'll do is I'll reset this in 30 days. We'll see how she's doing. If she's doing well, then I'm sure they'll do something differently.
understood, Your
So
Honor.
we'll set it for April 17th.
Yes, ma'am. Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. May I be excused afterward?
Yes. And you'll let your client know?
Yes, yes.
All right,
Your
thank you.
Honor.
Norma, recall Robles for April 17th.
She's the one.
We have confirmed we're ready whenever you.
All right, just give me a moment. And probation, did you receive my email on Araceli Robles? All right, and Victoria, if you'll confer with probation, I sent them the email, but make sure that they're up to speed on a referral to Center for Healthcare Services, so they'll
Yes.
know what's going on.
Yes, ma'am. I actually staffed it first.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
My apologies, Your Honor.
Oh, no problem. Did you finish conferring with him?
No, but I'll pick up when we're done.
All right. Court is calling 2019 CR 7090 State versus Barry William Uhr. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state
Rick Pena for the state of Texas.
defense?
Mark Stevens for Mr. Ur, Your Honor.
And are you Mr. Uhr?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, defense has filed a motion for early termination. The court ordered this for a hearing because I know the state, you're opposed.
Yes, Your Honor, we are opposed.
All right, defense, it's your motion. You may proceed.
Your Honor, we've filed with our motion letters from people who have known Mr. Ur for most of them 30 years or more. He grew up here in San Antonio.
Just
he
one
wa-
moment. Excuse me, to the clerk, do you have the letters? And state, is there any objection to the court reviewing the letters?
No objection from the state.
Your Honor, could I show you my copy with
Yes.
the letters attached?
Yes. And let me just review this. I have the motion, but not the letters. All right, you may proceed.
Your Honor, Mr. Ur graduated from East Central High School. Shortly thereafter, several years of working, he went to work for the San Antonio Fire Department. He worked there for 18 years as achieving the rank of paramedic. And this arrest happened and he was terminated before his retirement could vest. He had a trial. Jury did not see it the way we saw it. The court, however, put Mr. Ur on probation. I think the court must have seen something worthy in him. He served, he's done everything asked of him. Now, he's essentially been under court supervision since 2018, so 7 years. Pre-trial, during the trial, during the course of the appeal. He's done everything asked of him. This probation office, I know, has a great volume of work to do and people to take care of. But Mr. Ur has proven that he has complied and can comply with the orders of the court. He's done the BIP program, the parenting program. He's done his community service. And now he's hoping to move on to try and work for the post office. So he's made application and they're concerned about this probation. So for that reason, we're coming to the court. He's got 2 years or so left to go. I have no doubt that he's going to do everything required of him. He's now, I believe, on the maintenance program. And so he's just taken up space, essentially, Your Honor. The complainants, as I understand it, the complainant in this case, the mother, lives in San Diego. She's not in any danger of Mr. Ur. And so we think that the appropriate decision and the decision that we ask, and we know the court has discretion, we think discretion would best be served and the community's interest would best be served by terminating Mr. Uhr's probation. And I've asked him if the court would consider, would let him speak for a minute about what this whole experience has done for him being on probation.
All right, you want to raise your right hand? You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
This one,
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Barry Uhr.
All right, there's something you wanted to say?
Yes, ma'am, Judge. I was just here to say that I know I don't deserve anything from this court, but I was like to approach and request early termination for this. Going through the trial system, I never thought I'd be involved in the criminal system. With my civil service history with fire department and all that, going through the probation and the BIP program and all that has taught me a lot of what I didn't know about myself and what people.
What have you
expect.
learned?
Just that it was just different, how the outside looks at certain the actions and all that, that I just didn't realize were what's the word I'm looking for? Frowned upon, you know, and stuff that people do every day, myself included, in that program taught me that it's like, it's just different. They
What
look at,
actions are you speaking about that
or
are
just
frowned
certain,
upon?
the way you talk to somebody or the way you approach somebody in a, what I would have back then thought was normal. Other people saying the BIP program taught me that it's abnormal.
All right, well, give me an example if you could.
Just body language, you know, the way raising your voice to somebody. I mean, stuff like that, that just as a kid growing up and listening to other people, I thought was normal, you know, and the BIP program taught me that it's not, you try to think twice and speak once instead of speaking twice and thinking once. So it taught me a different aspect on how to look at life, and moving forward, I plan to use that in my well-being and everybody else's well-being around me. My friends, family, everybody. I try to be advantageous and help everybody in time of need if they come to me, because they know what I've gone through, my close friends, and they've supported me through all this, and I try to support them with everything they've ever asked of me.
All right, any questions, State?
None from the state, Your Honor.
All right, State, you're opposed?
We are opposed, Your Honor. Last communications we had with the victims in the case, they were opposed to the defendant being released early from his termination. They're not comfortable with it. And we want to follow their and probation's recommendation and keep this defendant on probation for his full term of 5 years. He's done, looks like 2.
I think it's
or
3.
excuse me, and we'd ask that the rest of the 2 years be completed by the defendant.
All right, so here's my question. Probation, I didn't think you were opposed to early termination because probation is the one who sent to the court the request for early termination. Are you opposed to early termination?
May I show you the reference is what I received from probation?
That's what Mr. Uhr has been told by 2 of his probation officers, Your Honor. You ought to apply for this.
No, just 1 second. Because what I can tell both parties is when the state is opposed to early termination, I always request a hearing so that I can hear what their issues are. And then when they're not opposed to early termination, I still request a hearing because I want to make sure that the complainant is aware and make sure that everything that was supposed to be done has been done and completed. So probation, are you opposed to early termination?
Probation is not, Judge. From what I can see here. It is they are making the recommendation that they made because the victim is not comfortable with it, like the prosecutor said.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so here's my question, State. Let's say that I keep him on probation for 5 years, for the total 5 years, and he completes everything. He's already completed it, I should say. The complainant is still going to have an objection. I don't understand why he would remain on probation. It appears that he's learned what the classes taught him. and he's internalized things. He is the first person who's here before me who's gone through BIP and said that he's learned the language you use, the tone you use. That's something to think about. So I don't see why he shouldn't receive early termination. He's completed everything. Is there anything else for him to do? He's completed everything. It appears that he's learned from the BIP, which is what we want. We want people to be rehabilitated. He's completed the classes. So your main reason for not wanting early termination is the complainant does not want early termination.
Safety of the complainant, safety of the community, Your Honor, we just asked them to monitor and be fully completed.
All right, so let's talk about safety of the community. Again, if I were to keep him on probation for 2 more years, if he doesn't violate probation, he'll be terminated. So where's the safety of the community in that?
At least he's being monitored for those 2 years.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else? And is it true that the complainant is not in Bexar County and not in the state of Texas?
I didn't get any information on our end to confirm that, so you can try calling him right now, Your Honor, if you want.
Yes, if y'all will step back and then I'll take the matter up.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. We're back on the record and 2019 CR 7090 State of Texas versus William Uhr. Can I have parties re-announce, please?
Rick Feeney for the state of Texas.
Mark Stevens for defense, Your Honor.
And you, Mr. Uhr?
Yes, ma'am. Very well.
Right. So with regards to your motion for early termination, the court will grant it, but the motion will not become effective until March 21st. And the reason why I'm doing that is so that the state can have a chance to contact the complainant. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're still to have no contact with the complainant. So defense, just so you know, the court will sign the order on March 21st, and you'll be able to pick up the order on that date, granting his motion for early termination. And state, I understand your objections, but he's completed everything, and based upon the input from probation and his testimony, I think early termination is appropriate. All right, thank you. And
All right, maybe
counsel,
we
you
can
just
excuse-
make sure to come by on Friday.
I'm gonna mark it on my calendar. Thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Oh, and Mr. Uhr, so if you're still supposed to report before March 21st, you'll still need to follow through with probation because I'm not signing it until March 21st. So everything is still in place until that date. You understand? All right, thank
Thank
you. Ethan Rosales, you can come forward. All right, we're going to come back on March 31st. All right, and that will be your final plea deadline date. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and Ms. Ferguson, can you let admin know that if the case is being transferred, we need to know by the end of this week? All right, thank you.
Judge. I have a seat.
All right, court is calling 2024 CR 3163, State of Texas versus Enrique Soriano. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Andrew Harris, Sadelman.
defense?
George Sharman on behalf of Mr. Soriano.
And are you Mr. Soriano?
Yes, Judge.
All right, you entered a plea on January 13th, a guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated, third or more. PSI and TAP evaluation were ordered. According to your plea bargain agreement, the state recommends community supervision. They're asking that your punishment be assessed at 4 years in the prison. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI and TAP evaluation? State?
Yes, Judge.
Defense?
Yes.
Any objections? State?
No, Judge.
Defense?
No objections to it.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Would you explain to you're applying for probation, is that right?
Yes. Plan for probation.
And tell her about your family and what's happening with you.
So back in November, my wife,
Well, you want to raise your right hand?
yes,
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Enrique Soriano.
All right, what would you like to say?
So back in November, my wife lost her grandpa and she was having like breakdowns. So, she got prescription medication, which is I think like eskeletopram. So she was taking that for a couple weeks and then she had like a screening for a hernia. So she had stopped taking them for the whole week. That caused her to get a mental illness. So, she had to get, hospitalized at the specialty transplant hospital for psychosis and bipolar 1. So that caused a whole bunch of stuff. She can't drive. I have to take care of her basically. And she relapsed back in January, still with the same thing, psychosis and all of that stuff. So I had to take 2 months off in order for me to take care of her. I just recently started working again in January, but I still got to take care of her. I got to take care of my 2 kids. I got to go to work. So I'm the only one in the household working now. So I'm the only one paying all the bills. I got 2 car notes, rent, my kids' food, things like that. So I'm picking my kids up from school. I'm the one taking them to school, picking them
Your
up.
problem is that they're asking for inpatient treatment. That's what we need to get to the point. So what you're giving me is reasons why you don't want to do inpatient treatment. But it's not addressing the underlying problem, which is they say you need inpatient drug treatment.
Judge, if I could,
Excuse me, we're on the record.
I would hope that you could give him intensive outpatient treatment and hold that other in abeyance, because I think he's going to do well with that, but he got to help his family. He's got to be there for them.
State.
State agrees with the recommendation of the supervision department.
All right, the recommendation says inpatient treatment, or they say I could consider intensive outpatient treatment. How many children do you have?
I have 2 year-old,
What are their ages?
8 and 6.
And what is your work schedule?
Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 7.
That's 10 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
to 7 p.m.
Yes, Judge.
All right, so who's looking after children during those times?
My wife is.
So I
Yeah.
mean, he trusts her to look after the children from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Do you have any other help with you?
We do have a support system, yes.
Who's your support system?
So family members, family friends, we recently moved, so my brother's down the street now. But it was very intensive as far as like getting her stabilized. So we have been seeing her psychiatrist, on a monthly basis. So she's really stable. So she's able to watch the kids. She's not a danger to herself or anyone around her. It was just the relapse. She still can't drive and none of that.
And see, the problem is you've been on probation before for DWI. And there's a motion to revoke file. And you were continued. And then you were terminated unsatisfactorily. Is there anything else?
Judge, that's what we're asking for. It's an outpatient.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court is going to sentence you to 4 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 4 years. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Excuse me, you all are blocking probation. There's going to be proof of employment within 30 days. No employment as a home health care provider or with minors. 2-year license suspension. And state, you may be excused.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, see, we're already violating the rules. There is to be victim impact panel live, DWI education, regular random UAs, ignition interlock for half the term, 200 hours of community service restitution I'm going to order parenting classes. Once that's completed, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. Field visits, 1 time per month for 6 months. There's to be a referral to felony drug court. That's to be in custody. If not accepted, then SATA. And what I can tell you is felony drug court will see you before the week is out. Probation, is there anything else?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. And I'm sorry, also DWI intervention. All right, is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful?
No, Judge.
Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, Judge.
All right, so have a seat in the box. They'll take you into custody. Yes. And probation, if you can make sure that the referral to felony drug court is completed today, please. All right, who's here on Curtis Wilson? All right, we're scheduled for jury trial, counsel.
We've agreed to, where's Galloway? We've agreed for June the 10th, Judge.
All right,
Yes, it was 3 to 4 days. It'll end on Friday the 13th,
all right, so you're saying June 10th?
June 10th.
State, this is your agreement for jury trial on June 10th?
Yes, Judge.
All right, so your jury trial date is going to be June 10th. That's what both parties have agreed upon. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, we're going to go on the record. Court is calling 2024 CR 3099, 2024 CR 2972B, and 2024 CR 2928B. State versus Curtis Wilson. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harris Sadelman.
Defense?
Blood written hour from Mr.
And are you Mr. Wilson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, counsel, do you have all discovery?
We do. We do, Judge.
All right, and are there any pretrial motions that need to be heard?
Not yet.
All right, what do we mean by not yet? Are there going to be pretrial motions?
There will be pre-trial motions. Judge. I just don't know which one, Judge.
All right, Norman, this is set for jury trial on June 10th. Both parties have agreed to that date. Is that correct, State Defense?
Yes, Judge.
It is, Judge.
All right, and then Ms. Ferguson, this needs to be set for motions.
But we've also agreed that we'll go on the 2928B case.
Is that correct, State?
Yes, Judge.
That's the other side.
All right, so here's the thing about that. I understand what you all have agreed to, but if for some reason that case is dismissed, everybody needs to be ready on all cases.
Yes, Judge.
All right, what date for motions? All right, your motions date will be June 2nd. All right, is there anything else?
Not from the state, Judge.
Not from the defense, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, you're going to be brought over dressed for trial on June 10th. And whatever clothing you have at the jail, if you wish to be attired in different clothing, you'll need to speak to your attorney and they will do a clothing exchange, but you'll need to sign the form for that. Counsel, if there's an issue with the clothing exchange, let the court know and we'll see if we can help you expedite that.
Understand. I'll
All right.
take care of it, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Have you good?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, who's here on Kelly Cotner? Court is calling 2024 CR 6359, State versus Kelly Cotner. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harris Sadelman.
Defense?
George Sharman on behalf of the defendant.
And are you Kelly Cotner?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you entered a plea of guilty on January 13th. A PSI and a TAP evaluation was ordered. According to your plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 8 years in the prison and the state is recommending community supervision. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI and the TAP evaluation?
I have, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
And also, there was a DDRF mixed screening. Did both parties review that as well?
Yes, Judge.
Which is that now?
The DDRF and MIC screening?
I don't know that I
recall the name of that.
It's a mental health evaluation.
Oh, yes, I looked at that.
All right, any objections?
No, Judge.
No, Judge.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Judge, we're asking for probation for you to follow the plea bargain. Ms. Cotner has been monitored the whole time. She had no violations, and she's had this device keep her in the home. She hasn't been driving. I think she's done everything positive that she could do to show this court that she would be a good probationer.
All right, state you may be excused.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court is going to follow your agreement. The court is going to sentence you to 8 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 8 years. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs. There's to be a referral to felony drug court. Probation, she's already been accepted to felony drug court. They were just waiting for the outcome of her application. DWI intervention, DWI education course, VIP live, ignition interlock for half the term. There's to be 200 hours of community service restitution. Do you have any hobbies? What do you do?
Well, I like to read and go to AA meetings
Okay.
and visit with family and friends.
All right. So are you employed?
No, ma'am, I am retired, but due to expenses, I may have to seek part-time employment.
Okay. And who do you live with?
I live with a very nice elderly gentleman. He's a veteran. His name is Mr. Eloy Lopez Senior.
Mhm.
I rent the room in his home.
Okay. All right, so there's going to be 200 hours community service restitution. How often are you doing AANA meetings?
Usually I try daily, but I would average 3 to 5 times a week minimum online because I've been under and am currently on 24/7 house arrest.
All right,
on
so
DPS.
there's going to be sober support meetings 3 times per week. There's to be restitution of $60 for laboratory tests. And that is to be to the Texas Department of Public Safety. Field visits 1 time per month until further notice. And I'm not going to order proof of employment because she's retired. But if she obtains employment, there's to be no employment. Sorry, excuse me. As a home health care provider or with minors. And if for some reason, if felony drug court is at capacity, then it'll be intensive outpatient treatment with probation. Probation, is there anything else? All right, is there anything else you need from the court?
Judge, she has a monitor.
State, do you have any objection to removal of the GPS monitor?
No, Judge.
All right, and GPS will be removed.
Do I need to get an order for that, or is that?
Just talk to the clerk.
Okay.
All right, is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, ma'am, I would just like to say, Your Honor, that I'm very, very sorry. Words can't effectively convey the remorse I feel for ever having endangered a life. The safety of the community is the most important thing for anyone. I'd like to continue the life I've been leading since this incident happened, and that is a good Christian life. Practicing, putting God first and practicing my AA program daily, no days off. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'd like to continue that. I'd like to continue the help that I'm able to give others. in recovery. And if I can help just one person not to drink and drive, then I'll feel very good. And I'd also like to thank you, Your Honor, your prosecutors and your entire court staff for such grace and professionalism. I truly thank y'all. And this is truly a gift. And I thank you so much. And I thank God. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. You've made my day. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, and probation, with regards to our community service, if you end up doing more in your AA meetings, by that I mean sometimes people become group leaders, sometimes they go to the meetings in person and they help set up, or they become a counselor. Let me know and I'll consider waiving some of your community service hours. All right, thank you. And thank you. You're always on time. You're always dressed appropriately. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Judge Boyd.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
And just wait in probation to go over conditions with you and state you're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Probation with Cotner, that's supposed to be a 2-year license suspension as well. Thank you. Just one second. Ms. Cotner? All right, that's going to be a license suspension as well. All right, thank you.